Well, good evening everybody, and I'm hoping that the sound on this is going to be okay. Here comes Jack. I was reading some Celtic poetry, and it's from one of my favourite books. It's actually a very old book. It's called Celtic Miscellany. And it has a lot of poetry in it from both Wales and Scotland and Ireland. And I think there's some from Brittany as well, in France. And it's actually very special poetry, and you'll know that when I read you a little bit of it. The reason why I want to read it to you is that the Celts had a very prosaic way of writing. By the time the poetry was written down, it had to be translated from the Gaelic, and within that translation you get a feeling of how they actually seen the world, how they viewed the world. Because the world to them was made up of so many different layers, and it was all those layers put together that created this sense, this very deep understanding of the other world. And one of the reasons why I live here on my own, and I don't have television, and I don't have anything that sort of interferes with the energy here, is because it's a very, first of all, it's a very unique way to live, because the outside world has so much noise in it, and our language is becoming diminished. Part of the downside of technology is this diminishment of language. So even if you look at the text language, it's very short and it's kind of stubby. And within the Celtic world, language was everything. And people sought to evoke a sense of the world around them through their language. And this is something now which only poets and writers do. But in the days of yore, everyone spoke in a very prosaic way. Anyway, let me just get on and read one of these poems, because you'll come to understand. I've got my little woolen shawl on this evening because it's quite cool. Okay. This poem here is The Wild Man in the Forest. Little antlered one, little belling one, melodious little bleater, sweet I think the lowing that you make in the glen. Homesickness for my little dwelling has come upon my mind, the calves in the plain, the deer on the moor. Oak, bushy, leafy, you are high above trees. Hazelbush, little branchy one, coffer of hazelnuts. Alder, you are not spiteful, lovely is your colour. You are not prickly where you are in the gap. Blackthorn, little thorny one, black little slowbush. Watercress, little green-topped one, on the brink of the blackbird's well. saxifrage of the pathway, you are the sweetest of herbs. Cress, very green one, plant where the strawberry grows. Apple tree, little apple tree, violently everyone shakes you. Rowan, little buried one, lovely is your bloom. Bramble, little humped one, you do not grant fair terrain. You do not cease tearing me till you are satiated with blood. You, little you are conspicuous in graveyards. Ivy, little ivy, you are familiar in the dark wood. Holly, little shelterer, door against the wind. Ash tree, baneful weapon in the hand of a warrior. Birch, smooth, blessed, proud, melodious, lovely is each entangled branch at the top of your crest. Aspen as it trembles, from time to time I hear its leaves rustling and think it is the foray. If on my lonely journey I were to search the mountains of the dark earth, I would rather have the room for a single hut in Great Glen the Balkan. Good is its clear blue water, good its clean stern wind, good its cress green watercress, better its deep brookline. Good its pure ivy, good its bright merry willow, good its yewy yew, better its melodious birch. And this is from the Irish, and it was written in the 12th century. The author is unknown because in many cases, of course, these little poems, these little pieces of prose were just written down by the monks and I suppose held within that time. But that was very much how the people regarded the landscape, that every layer in that landscape had an importance. And this is something that I have come to understand within the landscape here. And it's something that that's very important that we get back to. And I know yesterday when I was making the willow wreath, of course it was great fun, and here with Dwayne. Dwayne leaves tomorrow morning, by the way. But it was such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to work outside and to work with willow I just cut, and the pleasure then of decorating that wreath. I think we have become separated from Mother Earth. And I think true happiness lies in the reconnection. I think it's that simple. I don't think there's anything complicated about it at all. There's much wisdom in a little book like this, because when you read something that was written almost 900 years ago, it beggars belief that we have become so far removed. We should have evolved from that point. We should have evolved into a much deeper relationship with Mother Earth, and we haven't. But if ever there was a time to reconnect, it is now. It is now. Blessings to you all.